Welcome to the ECU Step Fireside Chat. I'm so excited for tonight to be able to answer your questions about applications in our application workshop. So, I am going to go ahead and get us jump started. My name is Ashley Cooper. I am the transition specialist for the STEP program, and tonight I'm going to be providing you with an overview of the application and the application workshops as well. So, first, I want to start by saying just doing a review of ECU STEP. So, the STEP program provides comprehensive academic support for students with learning disabilities at East Carolina University. These diagnoses, so the learning disability diagnosis, could include a specific learning disability such as a reading disorder, dyslexia, a disorder of written expression, dysgraphia, a math disorder, dyscalculia, and then these students will meet eligibility categories for disability support services also. So for the STEP program, we provide that comprehensive academic support and we partner with disability support services on campus so students are able to access accommodations. So, I don't know if I mentioned this, but STEP is an acronym that stands for Supporting Transition and Education Through Planning and Partnership. And so, we are providing those partnerships and that comprehensive academic support for students on campus. I did want to take a moment and go over some of our STEP treasured facts. So, if you're joining us for the first time and learning about the STEP program, I wanted to go over this for anyone that kind of want to know a little bit more about STEP. So, we have a 94% retention rate from first to second year. At ECU, we offer 86 different majors to choose from. So, anyone that's coming into the STEP program, we are a degree seeking program, and students can choose whatever major they want. So, we don't have any major restrictions. Students are allowed to choose a plethora of majors. We have 86 at ECU, so they can choose from anyone that they want. We have an 84% graduation rate. And then we accept 10 students per fall semester. And the best thing about STEP is that students don't have to pay any additional fees to participate in the STEP program on top of their tuition and fees that they would normally pay. But they don't pay anything additional to participate in STEP. So this is a little of our STEP treasured facts. And feel free, if you have any questions tonight, feel free to submit your questions live so I can answer those live. I'll be here for the next 30 minutes. So let's take a look at our applications. So, our applications for the 2026 cohort is now open. You can apply today at step.ecu.edu. So, any student that is a high school junior, meaning that you're graduating by 2026, you can apply to the STEP program now. So I'll say that again because that's a little different. Students apply to the STEP program during their junior year of high school. The reason that students apply so early for the STEP program is that during their high school senior year, I provide them with a transition curriculum to get them acclimated to coming into ECU, but also to build those soft skills and those independent living skills while they're away, not on campus yet. So we focus a lot on that transition curriculum during that high school senior year by providing newsletters for students and so bite-sized information about current events that are going on campus, as well as informing them about potential goals that they could possibly be meeting before they actually come on the campus. One of the biggest goals that we talk about for students is thinking about, are they currently doing their laundry or are they currently waking up on time? So those are the kind of things that we start to prompt students to start thinking about before they're actually on campus. Also, we also talk about our campus partners as well, disability support services, campus living. We talk a little bit about dining. So you have that exposure to campus before you're actually there, and a little bit of college lingo. So we include that as well. So once you get on campus, you're not learning what the cove is or you're not learning about the mall. You already are kind of familiar with those things before you actually step foot on campus. So that's the benefit of applying so early to the STEP program, is that you get in early. And then also you get that high school transition curriculum. The other thing that I'll mention is that the STEP program is an alternative admission. So when we're looking at applications for the STEP program, we look at the applications a little bit differently than admissions does in terms of accepting students to the STEP program. So if you want to learn more about the STEP program, feel free to drop some questions in the chat and I'm going to answer those live, or feel free to submit those live. So I see one question in the chat is, how competitive is it to get into the STEP program? So being that we only accept 10 students per fall semester, we do have a really competitive process. But what I will say about the STEP program is that we are not receiving 200 plus applications. So we are probably only receiving an average of 30 to 50 applications, because we have streamlined our eligibility category for students that have a specific learning disability. So students coming into STEP must have that meet eligibility criteria of having a specific learning disability and also be on the college preparatory track. So in terms of competitive, I will say that we have students that are apply to our program, and we see many of those students. We accept 10 of those students per fall semester coming in. So there is a competitive aspect in that sense, but we highly encourage everyone who's interested in the STEP program to participate in the STEP program and actually do the application process. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the application tonight. So, one of the biggest things I've seen with the application is that we have a very comprehensive application. For students applying to the STEP program, they have to submit their documentation that they have a specific learning disability. They have to submit documentation of their transcripts. They have to fill out a couple of different forms that we're going to talk about tonight as well. And so, with that competitive nature, and that comprehensive process, we are really trying to get to know each student as a learner. That's one of the things that we strive for at STEP, is to know each student as a learner. And so in that initial application pool, I want to be a resource to anyone that's thinking about applying to the STEP program. So one of the ways I do that is through our application workshop. So I take the time to sit one on one or in a group setting to talk about different aspects of the application, potential areas where students may need some additional support, providing them with links to provide to their recommenders or to get their recommendations, providing them links to educators and parents so they're able to upload that additional information like transcripts, report cards, 504s, IEPs. So, with the application workshop, you can ask your questions, and I try to help you live. So, we have a couple of application workshops coming up soon. We have one on March 24th at 4 p.m. Eastern. April 7th at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then May 1st at 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you're thinking about actually signing up for one of our application workshops, you can sign up by visiting our website at step.ecu.edu/apply. There you can sign up for any application workshops. And if you're ever like really concerned and you can't find the link to actually sign up for our application workshop, you can always contact me, Ashley, at cooperash22 at ecu.edu. So you want to contact me if you have any trouble signing up for any application workshops or tours that we have for the STEP program. That way I can help support you in that process. And if any of those dates don't coincide with your availability, you're able to schedule time with me by emailing me as well. So we can set aside some time so we can meet to talk about your individual application. So I'm always willing to meet with students and parents to talk about how to apply to the STEP program and the resources that you would need to actually apply. So the application workshops are really beneficial for students and parents and educators to know about how to apply to the STEP program, because we do have a comprehensive application. So, with that being said, I wanted to kind of take a deeper dive into our application tonight. We have a application guide that's on our website as well. So, if you're visiting our website at step.ecu.edu/apply, you will see that we have links to our application guide. The guide takes you to each individual form of the application. So, we have a couple of different forms that you actually have to submit information to. The first form that you submit information to is our applicant profile. On the applicant profile, you're providing us with information about your demographics, information about how you learned about the STEP program itself, and then also your contact information. That's a really important part of the applicant profile, is that you provide us with the email so that we're able to send you additional links. So it's the portal that actually opens up your application. So once you complete the applicant profile, it opens the application for you, and you'll receive links to our family information form, your education information form, application materials form, the essay information form, and then the wrap up. So you have to complete the applicant profile in total, including your email address, and signing off, and that opens the portal for you to actually apply to the STEP program. On the application guide, it has all the information you need for each of these forms. I'll briefly go over each form. For the applicant profile, overview, demographic information. Family information form is another demographics and information about your family. Education information form provides us with information about your current high school. So you provide us with updates in terms of if you're dual enrolled. You provide us with your transcripts there. It's also another way for us to understand students' accommodations plans. So, accommodations plans can look like an IEP, or which is an individualized education plan, or a 504 plan. Or some students may come from a school where they actually have learning plans or accommodation plans. So, you would submit that additional information there as well. We also give educators the opportunity to upload this information for you. So on the application there, on the education form, you can also indicate that a educator or a counselor will be uploading information on your behalf. You just have to provide them with a link to the application upload form, and they can provide that additional information. For the application materials, we provide you with a way to submit the people that you want to provide recommendations on your behalf. So you can list out all of your people that you want for recommendations. You can also provide us with your psychoeducational evaluation, and also your documentation that you took the ACT or SAT, and as well as the documentation of accommodations that you took on the ACT or SAT. So, on that form, it gives you a lot of room in terms of submitting that additional application materials, but you can also notate on that form as well that you have an educator or a counselor that's going to be providing that information as well. So I will say, and I get this question a lot, I'm looking, kind of scrolling through Instagram now to make sure I'm not missing any questions in the chat. But in terms of the ACT and SAT, those things are required for students to submit, and the documentations of accommodations that you received on either of those tests or both. We've had students submit both as well, for the accommodations that you actually received either on the SAT or ACT or both. Those are really streamlined to help us understand the accommodations that you're currently receiving, and they mostly align with accommodations that students will receive in higher education. So we really look for those materials. The psychoeducational evaluation, we like for that to be within the last 3 years. It provides us with your learning disabilities diagnosis. We have detailed information on our application guide. So if you have any questions about the psychoeducational, you can find that additional information on our application guide, but you can always contact me if you have any questions about the documentation that you need to submit as well. And then we have our essay form. So on the essay form, it provides you with the essay questions as well as a way to upload your drafts of your essay and the final draft of your essay. So when you are completing your essay, you also provide us with information about who supported you in the process of your application. If you had someone edit your essay, you will provide that information there as well. And then the wrap up form is there to help support you with understanding what you've submitted so far and what you need to lean on others to submit for you. So you can go through the wrap up to kind of finalize if you submitted all of your application material. So it's there as another checkpoint for you to kind of wrap up your application, because we know it's a comprehensive process. So we want to be there to help support you. And that's one of the ways that we found was very helpful for students to wrap up at the end and also sign off that they're submitting their application to the STEP program. So, in addition to the application guide, we also have an application checklist. I always recommend that students print off or save the application checklist because it provides the opportunity for you to go through and see all of the required materials you submitted so far. But at the bottom of the checklist, we provided you a way for you to keep up with your return codes. So, return codes are provided to you once you either stop and save your application or once you completely submit each form. So, you'll get a return code that allows you to go back into your application for the different forms. It's kind of like a password per se. So, you're able to navigate back to your applicant profile or your essay, and you're able to get back into the system to update information as well as upload additional information. So, with the return codes, I always suggest to parents and students to write down the return code so you're able to get back into the application. If you perhaps lose your return codes, I always am a resource and I send out application status updates to parents and students with those application return codes in them as well. So, those are also, you still could connect with me if you need any support with the application. So I also wanted to kind of go through some questions that I have received about the application. So these are strictly related to submitting the application. So thinking about that application workshop spirit, is there an essay required for the STEP application? Yes, there is an essay required, and many students choose different ways to actually conquer the essay. We do have prompts that students have to address. So it's several prompts that students have to address, and they're all located on our website as well as the application itself. Those prompts are different than the ECU admissions application. So if you're applying directly to ECU, these are different prompts. So I encourage you to check out our prompts on our website so that you are familiar with those. With the application itself, I always like to mention that we at the STEP program and our admissions team, we like to see your writing process. So we do have an essay, and you're required to submit your final draft as well as your drafts throughout the essay. So if you have, I had a student ask me, what if I have 50 drafts? We want to see the entire writing process. So we would want you to submit all of your drafts. So 1 through 50 of all your drafts and then your final. I do see we have a question in the chat. Where are the prompts found? So we have the prompts in 2 locations. So it's actually on the application itself. So if you're once you're navigating through the applicant profile and you complete that applicant profile, the link to the essay form will be sent to you, and on that essay form you have the essay prompts. In addition to that, we also have our essay questions on our application guide. So if you were to scroll to our application guide by going to step.ecu.edu. And if you come to the homepage, you will click here at apply, and then click on application guide. When you click on application guide, it will take you to the page that I'm currently on. And on this page, you can navigate to our essay information form. And on the essay information form, once you get there, you'll scroll down and you'll see part one is write your essay, and then we have the following prompts here. So while I'm on this page, I'll take a minute to read the prompts out loud, so for anyone that's curious about the essay prompts. So you have to address all of the questions. So the following questions are: why are you interested in attending ECU? What are your goals for the future? Describe the impact you feel your learning disability has had on your school experiences so far. Describe the impact you feel your learning disability may have on future goals, on your goals for the future. And then, how do you believe that participating in the STEP program will help you achieve your goals and overcome the challenges related to your learning disability? And then, what other information would you like to share with the STEP admissions committee that you believe that will assist them with considering your application? Some examples there are achievements, awards, training, personal statements. So these are on the application guide itself. This provides you with a list of all of our essay prompts. And you're welcome. Thank you for the questions. I appreciate those in the chat. So I'm going to take us back over to our presentation. So that's where you can find our essay prompts. Just remember for the essay that you have to submit your drafts as well as your final essay. That's always important. So, next questions: are there interviews involved with the application process for the ECU STEP program? Yes. So, what we do is go through all of your application materials and we provide you with an update. So, we go through and we screen all applicants once the deadline has reached for the application. The deadline this year is May 15th. 2025 for the application. So after the deadline, we screen all the applicants by reviewing their application, and then we notify students that are invited back for the interview. So that's the second part of our admissions process. Interviews are typically held late July. So typically during the last 2 weeks of July, I provide updates to those students as well as the potential times for those interviews. Typically, invite you on campus. So it's an in-person interview. We invite you on campus for a whole day. And we do several activities with you. Among those activities, you will be interviewed by our STEP admissions team. So that includes the director of the STEP program, Mr. Adam Denny, me, myself as the transition specialist, and then also our instructional specialist would interview you as well. What I will say, I've had questions about, oh my gosh, the interview, I'm so nervous. That gives me a little bit of anxiety. It's okay. The interview process is for us to get to know you as a learner. So we got to know you a little bit about you during your actual initial application materials, but we want to get to know you as a learner, and the way we do that is through our interview process. So we try to get to know each student as a learner. And in the chat, thank you, Maya Booth 0829. When is the deadline for the application? Thank you. The deadline for the application is May 15th. 2025. So that's our deadline for the application this year, is May 15th, 2025. Thank you for that question in the chat. I really appreciate that. So interviews are a part of our process for the STEP program as well. So I'll take us. I see we have a couple minutes left, and I'm continuing to monitor the chat. What do I do if I encounter technical issues while completing the online application for the ECU STEP program? So if you do happen to um, encounter any technical issues, or if you're having trouble getting back into your application because you lost your return codes, it's always best to contact me. So at my email, by sending me an email at Cooper ash22 at ecu.edu so that I'm able to assist you with getting back into your application. So I always can help assist any individual that gets locked out of their application or miss a return code. You can always look out for my emails. Also, with the application status updates. In those emails, I always attach a document that gives you an update of your application that also includes all of the forms you've activated so far. So that meaning that you went in it and you've saved information there. I always provide you with the return codes for those as well. And like I said, if you do have any questions, go ahead and submit those live. I'm monitoring the chat so I can answer those as well. I do have some other, another frequently asked question about the application. How can I check the status of my application for the ECU STEP program? So, checking the status of your application revolves you actually submitting going in the portal and actually submitting information. So you actually have to fill out the applicant profile first, so that unlocks the application, and then I will start to send you application updates. So checking your status of your application means that you're checking your email for application updates from me, so that way I can provide you with that additional information. And I see in the chat we do have another question. What is the acceptance rate to the program? So for the program, our acceptance rate is a little difficult for me to actually tell you guys in terms of the applications, but I can tell you how many applications we typically receive, and then actually how many students are accepted. So for the STEP program, we get receive a range of applications. Typically, is around, I will say, 30 to 40 each year. Each applicant pool is different. So each range we've seen, when I first started, I think we received 47 applications that year. And then the next year we received about 30 applications. So the average is around 30. And then we accept 10 students each fall semester. So when we go through, submitting your application puts you in the pool so the admissions teams can review you as a learner. And a couple of things that we're looking for students applying to the STEP program is that they meet eligibility criteria of having a specific learning disability, as well as be on the college preparatory track, which means they meet minimum course requirements of the university, which means that means we're meeting the required high school classes for the universities to accept. So thank you for that question in the chat as well. And feel free to continue to submit your questions live so I can answer those. And if we run over time, I'm willing to sit here until all of your questions are answered. So I do have a couple of more slides left in my presentation, but I want to make sure I'm answering your questions. So feel free to drop those in the chat. I'll be on for probably additional 5 more minutes to be able to answer any questions that you have about the STEP program. I also wanted to provide you with a no problem. You're welcome. Provide you with an opportunity to know that there are some opportunities for you to visit the STEP program. So you can visit our open house either in person or virtually. So we have a couple of open house events scheduled for in person on Friday, March 28th at 2 p.m. and then Friday, April 25th at 9 a.m. So those are our in-person times. You can come see the cove. That's a picture of the cove there. So that's the space where students actually come in to do their study hall hours. And that's the time where they are working on assignments, working with tutors, meeting with mentors. So that's the space where they also have access to professional staff like our director, me as the transition specialist, or our instructional specialist. So they can access us. Our door is always open, unless we're in a meeting, but our door is always open for students to meet with them to answer any questions they have. Also, for our open house, we do have virtual dates coming up for Wednesday, March 5th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Wednesday, April 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. All of these are available on our website. So, If you want to visit the STEP program, you can always email me if none of these times work for you, so that we can schedule a alternative time if you're not available during these times. But if you are available during these times, you can always schedule to meet with me by going to our homepage, where you're able to see all of our dates for our events, so either our in-person events or our virtual events. So with that, you're able to actually see the time to schedule out those events. I'm taking a look again in the chat to make sure that we don't have any additional questions. And let's see, we have a couple more slides. We just have two more slides. So if you have any questions, feel free to get those answered before I log off. But you can always give us a phone call at 252-737-2661, or you can email step@ecu.edu. And visiting our website is always a resource for you to learn additional information about the STEP program as well. All right. And then I'm coming up on my last slide. So if you do have any additional questions, go ahead and ask those now, submit your questions now. But if you are watching this video later and you're like, oh man, I really wish I was there so I could have asked her this question, you can always contact me at cooperash22@ecu.edu, or you can give me a call at 252-737-2275. And I will be there to help support you with any of your questions in regards to either our application process, or if you're just learning about the STEP program now, I can meet with you to provide you an update of all of the services that STEP provides. I kind of just touched on a little bit of our services, but we have a plethora. Just like our application being comprehensive, the program itself is very comprehensive. So I just touched on some of the resources that we have for the STEP program. So it's always a chance to learn more by contacting me, and we can schedule out that time to meet. And I will be on for about one more minute. So I'm checking the chat now to make sure I haven't missed any of your questions. Feel free to submit your questions in the chat and I will answer them live. So I'll give you that opportunity to actually do that. As well as I wanted to take us back to the homepage, where we have all of the information about how to actually schedule time for either our own campus tour, our virtual tour, or see when we will be live again. So we do go live. I know tonight we only went live on Instagram, but we do go live on our Facebook, our LinkedIn, and as well. So I wanted to also show you that there is another potential for you to come on and ask your questions live. So if you are wanting to learn more about the STEP program, you can actually book a tour on campus or virtually, or always by emailing me, so we can figure out a way for you to learn more about STEP. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat so far. So if you do have any additional questions, feel free to drop those in the chat now so I can answer those live for you. We're going to be logging off in about one more minute, but I want to make sure I am answering any questions that you may have about the STEP program. Also, I want to take us back to my contact information before I log off, so that you can be in contact with me for anything that you want to learn about the STEP program. So like I said earlier in the video, that I am in charge of the recruitment for the STEP program, as well as the application. So I can answer any questions that you have about STEP, as well as any questions that you have about the application. So if you want to learn more about the application, feel free to give me a call, or give me an email. So shoot me an email at cooperash22@ecu.edu, or give me a call at 252-737-2275. So I'm checking the chat one final time. I don't see any questions in the chat, but it's been great sitting with you guys here tonight. And if you do have any additional questions that you want answer about the STEP program, always feel free to reach out to me, and go Pirates.